team.
Well, we'll see, right? Especially for Taz, he likes those assassins. Will Coach Zace give him those assassins? The answer is no. It's a utility hero in the jungle. That Akai, as Philippines, with no hesitation, picks up that Lolita for Villa Luna. Up against the Beatrix, becomes a solid choice here. But the thing is, Arashi, there's a lot that can actually cancel that Numenon Blast from Indonesia. There's a lot of CC to play with.
And I think that's the exact reason why the Akai was picked. Being able to secure the backline, maybe zone away, and push away the pad up on that Benedetta with the heavy spin. That is an option they can play around with. And in those big fights, how dynamic Indonesia is, we have no idea if the Akai is going to be an engage tool or just a crowd control tool used to just make a mess out of the formations of the Philippines.
Now it's the jungler. The Barats was seen before. Now we're going to see the Fredrin, the most picked hero for Del Rosario here at IESF 2022. And now for Indonesia, what's left is just the roamer. At this point, they have a solid engage already. Good disengage with the Akai as well. They might actually want to double down on that cover, right? The peel pressure for the Beatrix, for the Yve to play it front to back.
If the Beatrix itemizes for DPS, I think he can match the damage out of the Leslie. Although in the late game, the true damage is the big main concern, as well as the fact that Soriano can act a bit of like an assassin and just snipe out the squishier members. So I think crowd control is still what Indonesia will try and go for. The answer will be that Franco, man. They want to make sure that they can get all the lead possible, but that's only if they can land those iron hooks.
There's a lot of mobility from Philippines, but Indonesia want to get that ball rolling from the start. Philippines with their draft, multi-dimensional, playing around the dive, and even the front to back with their range. And Indonesia doing the same. Let's jump into the land of dawn for game number 1.
Just like that, ladies and gentlemen, we are underway. Both junglers seem to be prioritizing clearing with that Demon Slayer emblem, but right now, it seems like Taz will be alone, and that will mean that he will be clearing a lot less faster compared to Del Rosario.
Looking at both of the matchups here, well, the matchup in the mid lane, technically, it will definitely favor Imam and Villa Luna on the Farsa and Lolita when it comes to clear, and especially when it comes to roaming around. Psychots is going to be the target here. Petrify used by Dapadap already early on. Psychots going to be stunned up, and the instant first blood over to the Philippines before the first minute.
Level 2 roam, and this is the danger of that Farsa with the wings by wings. This is where Hijime on the Eve cannot really match that speed, that rotating potential. And with that lead, now that sets the tone for the EXP lane as Hijime gets taken very, very low. He needs to respect the burst potential.
You can see the curveball already from Philippines. Usually, if you take a look at their matches from yesterday even, they always rotate around that gold lane early on. We saw that Oppi was picked up against Soriano with the same kind of strat. With, again, Imam rotating with the wings by wings over to the gold lane. The curveball sent was, again, you think we're going to go to the gold lane, but we instead go to the XP lane. And that just kind of that was the moment where they were able to outsmart Indonesia early on. We'll see if this continues here, but both teams are opting to play it passively early on. They don't really want to look for anything too aggressive. But Del Rosario and Dapada already able to actually steal away a creep in the jungle from Taz.
Taz already slightly behind, but the retribution battle is where this Akai pick actually has advantage. In the mid lane, already pressure being exerted, knowing that the turtle needs to be contested. Taz is looking for a bit of intel, a bit of a momentum. And if Psychots can come in and participate here with his ultimate, that Black Dragon Clone is a big zoning tool. And it seems like the Philippines are opting to just let it go.
Mid control was won by Indonesia right now, but that's going to be the retribution from Taz to secure the turtle. Top side, and here's Bastion with a real world manipulation, and that's going to be Dreams flickering forward, finding Villa Luna, picking up a double kill for the roamer from Indonesia.
What a turn of events right here. Letting go of the turtle, going for the top side play, but still falling short as Indonesia actually makes a play. Del Rosario is stuck in a 1v1, but it's a retribution battle, and actually Taz comes out on top.
Without the retribution, Taz plays it really well with that heavy spin. He was trying to buy time to get that retribution cooldown back, but he didn't even need it. He was able to steal it away. Now, 2 minutes in, Arashi. Again, we need to talk about that. Indonesia opted to play around the turtle, getting the turtle onto their hands. Philippines, they opted to rotate, maybe even trade in the gold lane, but they weren't able to find any kills.
It's because they don't have a lot of combos, but look at here, Taz getting bursted down.
Gonna be taken down here by the damage from Imam. Del Rosario tanking a whole lot. Pops out of Brazer's Wrath as Dreams is gonna be stunned up. They're looking for more right now. Dreams gonna be collapsed on as Tapada rotates as well. It's that ultimate bonding experience already in the 3rd minute. They're grouping up.
And it's that speed that the Philippines can use to outmaneuver Indonesia. When going gets tough and the combos come in from Indonesia, the Filipinos have speed in their hands and they are using it again in the top side. But fortunately, brands will not be targeted just yet. The waves, as you can see, is what is important here. If the Filipinos can use this wave pressure to actually roam around faster, it doesn't even matter if the Indonesians have superior engage.
I mean, you can take a look at the gold here. The fact that Indonesia were able to find that turtle, able to find a few kills, but still are equal in gold against Philippines shows that the Philippines have just been laning super well. And you can see in the XP lane with just a slight lead early on, the Tapada has just been able to rotate, has been more active across the map, providing so much pressure for his team.
That's why it's so interesting, man. Contrasting team compositions, yet coming out even due to the execution, due to the strategy being applied in this early game right here. And now with the turtle spawning up, both teams going. Iron Hook lands though.
On to Villa Luna, who's going to be bursted down by the Venice Rage. Psychots now coming in with the Ventrify onto 2 members, stunning them up. But there's no further follow-up. It's the turtle traded in for a kill, 1 for 1.
And it's going to be very difficult for the Indonesians to catch Imam. He does have the Purify that saved his life in that engagement. Dreams is zoning Soriano away though, but the backup is coming down through. The Indonesians will be able to pick up the turret, but it does seem like the Philippines will not be able to find any compensation.
Both teams still trading back and forth. It's still such an even game in the 5th minute here, with both teams standing at literally equal gold. It's probably just 100 gold lead, but with Indonesia getting that turret in the gold lane, they will have a little bit more pressure to play with when it comes down to that wave manipulation.
They can push the waves further into the side of the Philippines. They can use the lack of vision in that top side as well. And as you can see, Dreams is already trying to find some opportunities in the top side of the jungle. But the Filipinos are rotating in that mid lane. They like doing this siege playstyle, and they can poke down any member from Indonesia. This early in the game, the resistances, the defensive items have not been completed just yet.
It's the signature Ube that we've all come to know. Villa Luna, though, going aggressively onto Dreams, going to be stunned up, suppressed by the Bloody Hunt as Villa Luna will fall here in the 5th minute. Indonesia using this Franco really well, looking for another pick towards Imam or Tapada. But it seems like it's just the battle for that mid-control.
And if this continues, the Filipinos will not have a member tanky enough to just serve as the scouting tool. Right here, the Philippines are still trying to clear the waves, look for the big pickoff, but if the Indonesians keep getting the upper hand like this, it's going to be very difficult for them to even get that vision necessary for them to set up those ambushes.
You know, I think Indonesia have been responding to the rotations from Philippines with a lot of class right here. You know, with Indonesia, again, utilizing Hijume to actually lane alone in the mid lane, just having Dreams to support him in the back. But the mid control will definitely be held down by the Philippines here with a clear. Now both teams rotating over to the turtle. 6 minutes in, Del Rosario with Philippines looking for it. Taz goes in for the heavy spin, but will be stunned up. Dreams now in the back, not going to be able to find anything, but it's going to be Psychots who finds the Petrify. It's another Petrify for the Tapada. Now in a 1v5 with Psychots, who's going to be taken down. Both of the XP laners falling down. Del Rosario going to be there in the front, but it's an amazing hook over from the side of Dreams. Del Rosario taken very low, the damage coming in to support that, but it will not be enough. It's just a 1-4-2. Indonesia again with a bit of a lead, but the turtle did go to the hands of Philippines.
The Indonesians come out on top due to their superior crowd control, and this is what they're talking about. When the going gets tough, when everything is clumped up like that, the Indonesians have a bit of an advantage, at least until later on in the late game. For now, the Filipinos, they need to be very careful for the Iron Hook. Dreams has been very, very smart in waiting for the right opportunities. And we'll look at this fight right here, where both EXP laners are able to zone away their respective teams. But afterwards, the damage potential and this amazing hook from Dreams is able to get Indonesia that advantage in that fight.
There's so much pressure on the shoulders of Philippines. 1-0 down already. If Indonesia wins this, it's match point. They only need one more game after to secure the the victory in this grand finals. So the pressure is on for Philippines as the Iron Hook will be cancelled out there by Villaluna. Now it's Indonesia who are looking to get that mid turret.
They're looking to get that mid turret, and they have pressure on the side lanes as well. So the jungle is no longer safe for Del Rosario to start farming into, and without any tanks available, as we mentioned earlier, it's going to be very difficult. Brands with the Nibiru's passion, that's a lot of damage, but that is conversion coming in from the Philippines.
That's a taunt coming in. Hijume going to be bursted down by the pot up in the back with the help of the feather airstrike. A 1-for-0 right now, but Indonesia, they choose to back away, not wanting to go for a 4v5. 5 seconds for the Lord, and Philippines will need to go for this right now with a man advantage.
The adjustment coming in from the Philippines is so good right now. They are a team that wants to go front to back, but given the right circumstances, they understand that they can flank around and actually catch the backlines from the Indonesia off guard, but that is what Teams is able to do with the Iron Hook.
A beautiful feather airstrike there to save Villaluna, but now Psychos jumps in with the Black Dragon form, able to find a Petrify, taking the kill onto Villaluna. The pot up on the backs right now, jumping in. Brand still able to cut away. Taz dealing a whole lot right now as Del Rosario and Soriano are on to the Lord. Taz looking for the steal right now at the real world, but Blake will be able to find the 2 members immobilized. Taz versus Del Rosario as the pot up comes in. That's David's favorite. That pot up finds the steal onto the Lord. Del Rosario now trying to back off with Taz as well. The pot up still coming in, providing that escape for Del Rosario. And Philippines come out on top.
They're on the back foot, but they find the fight that they require and dab it up with that Benedetta. Just so good, zoning everyone away and somehow, some way, securing that turtle as well. We'll see that the real manipulation has been fought by Hijume here to zone the Filipinos away. But the Paddock doesn't care. He keeps going for it, and Del Rosario is able to occupy everyone else, and that dive advantage, that backline vulnerability is showing for the Indonesians.
It was super risky, Arashi. I feel like, again, they wanted to just chain their damage together. The pot up with the Phantom Slash and obviously the retribution from Del Rosario. It caught Taz off guard, but again, that was a risky move because if Taz has read that, they would have been able to find that kill onto the Lord. The pot up, again, just dealing out that damage. He's actually doing a lot here, poking even against Indonesia where he should be just that backline threat.
He is able to literally burst down Brands to half HP in the beginning of every fight, and when you're that low against a Farsa, against a Leslie, it makes it very difficult for you to have any impact at all in these big team fights. And look at that, one bolt from the Feather Airstrike is able to chunk Hijume down to half HP. That is what the Indonesians are dealing with right now. And in contrast, Hijume has finished his glowing wand, so the poke game, the DPS is higher, but if the Filipinos can get the burst early on, it won't matter.
The tides have turned. Now it's Philippines with the lead. More pressure to play with around that mid lane as well with the tier 1 taken down. Indonesia are going to find it extremely hard to actually contest for this mid control. Even though they have a lot of clear with their heroes, with the Eve and the Beatrix obviously, it's still again Soriano who's going to be able to open up the map. Taz going to be caught here. A lot of damage placed onto him. The now blast as well, flickered forward. Taz gets out with a heavy spin. Philippines backing up, playing around still that bottom side river.
They made an aggressive play there, but the Lord is not up, so the Indonesians will be able to reset and wait for the next opportunity. But you can see the difference right here. The Filipinos are the ones setting up, waiting for an engage, waiting for a chance to just burst someone down from the side of the Indonesians. Unless the Indonesians can secure those defensive items, some physical and magical defense, it's going to be very difficult for them to even be in the picture for those neutral objective contests.
We're creeping in towards that late stage of the game. Let's talk a little bit about the draft, Arashi. Who has the edge when it comes to that late game for both Philippines and Indonesia?
In a weird way, it does seem very even, but of course it depends on how the team fight goes. The Filipinos have true damage in their favor, and they have AoE, but
a pickoff in the top lane with Brands and Dreams finding a kill to the pot up, the man that's been such an impactful player around these neutral objective takes. And just like that, you can see Indonesia circling around the Enhanced Lord, looking for it, trying to commit onto it.
Without the Paddock in the picture, the Indonesians can have an easier time. They might be using this lore to just bait out some fights. Hijumi has the Ice Queen's wand, so if the Filipinos miss position, the Indonesians can definitely capitalize unless Hijumi almost gets taken out, and now the Indonesians pop the Black Dragon for him.
Del Rosario on the flank right now, jumping in, looking for the steal. Hijumi finds it, secures it for Indonesia as Villa Luna's Lumina Blast is going to be cancelled out. Del Rosario falling. Indonesia turning the game again towards their favor. 13 minutes in with the Enhanced Lord and an amazing snipe from Brands to connect onto Imam. Dreams looking for the hook once again. Villa Luna not having the shield. It is just going to be Indonesia looking for a slow push with the Enhanced Lord. They do not want to overextend.
And in the long-range department here, Farsa and Leslie against a Beatrix and a Yve. It's a bit funny because both have burst damage, and DPS-wise though, I think the Indonesians have it. So if they play the prolonged long-range game, I think Hijumi might just be able to do a lot more damage than Imam. But of course, it depends on what the whole team wants to do. With the Lord approaching now, with the towers falling down consistently for the Indonesians, they're waiting for an opportunity. And this is where the Filipinos have a chance to go for that massive engage to try and turn things around.
Top lane, that's the Enhanced Lord marching down with the mid lane as well coming in. Indonesia looking for that three-way push. Dreams looking for the flanks right there, looking for a pickoff. A good feather airstrike to zone Hijumi away, as it's a beautiful micromanagement from Team Philippines as they are able to defend, losing only one base turret right now.
Ooh.
Dreams almost finding that hook, but will not be able to. Only one base turret falls in that skirmish, in that siege.
You can see the discipline and the care that the Indonesians are using right now. They would usually go for an engage and perhaps go for a big fight, but they know against the Philippines, that could be the exact play that allows them to come back. If you take a look at the levels right now, Brands and Taz already at level 15, they definitely have a bit of an edge compared to the Filipinos, but soon, at about the 15 to 16 minute mark, it will no longer matter. The gold advantage will be moot because both teams will have a full inventory slot.
Now it comes down to the vision game. When we're at this point with just the base turrets left standing, Philippines needs to be extremely disciplined when it comes down to opening the jungle up. You can see they're grouping up towards that purple buff for Del Rosario. Brand's able to siege down that base turret in the bottom lane with the Renner. Now the mid lane base turret is all that is left. Some vision there provided by Philippines over to the bottom side jungle. But Indonesia will choose to play it disciplined, not wanting to go for anything too crazy, as we are going to take a look at the item check here in 15 minutes.
Well, Imam definitely has an abundance of damage right here. The Holy Crystal and the Divine Glaive penetrating the magical defense and also gaining a lot more magic power in the process. Along with that though, if you itemize for that magical damage, Soriano has a full inventory slot as well with the BOD. So if Brands gets chunked low enough, one hit is all it takes. And if he's out of range, the snipes are still an option as well. The Lord Dance here from both these teams will decide how this game turns around.
We'll see again. Indonesia still holding on to that lead. Again, with the waves being manipulated as it is, slow pushing in the top lane and that bottom lane, Philippines will have to send a few members or maybe just one member to just stay in the base defending. Again, Indonesia will have a little bit of a man advantage here, forcing the errors to come through from Philippines as they look for the Enhanced Lord in the 16-minute. That's a hook again. Dreams reading it out well, but it's going to be the stun coming in from the Lord. Immortality popped in. Brands dodging away from Feather Airstrike. Del Rosario looking for the flanks right now. Is activating the heavy spin, and that's the Lord secured by Indonesia. Lumina Blast by Villa Luna, cancelled out by Taz. Soriano massive in the back line, still able to find Psychots. Both teams, again, just trading Dreams with the conceal play, looking for a hook. Del Rosario and the rest of the Philippines will be able to play around those mini waves to stop the hook from connecting. It's a 1-for-1. Lord for Psychots.
Lord for Psychots, and that is calculative gameplay coming in from the Indonesians. Knowing that the Padap is on the other side of the map, they go for that Lord play, and they were able to catch the Filipinos off guard. And now,
look at a hook! Hijumi with the help of Brands, snipes them down! The bottom onto the back line, doing a whole lot of damage. The mirrors back in from Brands, spraying them down with the help of the real world manipulation. Hijumi takes them down. It's a 3-4-0 for Indonesia. Del Rosario, the appraiser's Brands, 1v3, taunting Dreams up, but Brands will be able to melt him down. Soriano tagged down. It's a triple kill for Brands, and it's match point for Indonesia.
what a fight by the Indonesians, knowing that they have an advantage, landing the hook at the right moment. Dreams on the Franco, enables his team yet again, and the Filipinos are on the back foot right now. They need to adjust.
What a start to the series, but it might be the beginning of the end for Philippines. It's match point, Arashi. We mentioned this. Losing here, it's a lot to take in. It's 2-1, 2-0 actually currently, because again of the +1 that Indonesia has. Everything from Indonesia, the damage is unreal, especially from Brands on the Beatrix in the late game. Take a look at his items, Hunter Strike, and instantly towards the Malefic Roar with the DHS. Heavy emphasis on melting those frontliners down, and they did it. Indonesia played a very well front-to-back composition.
When the fight gets very, very long, yes, the Nibiru's passion gets blocked by the Bulwark we saw in the final fight. But with those items, the basic attacks themselves will be enough, especially if you're 8-0. So Brands is definitely up there, and you can see that the gold per minute and the damage dealt is on his side as well. But alongside him is going to be Hijime on that Eve, man. It's very underrated. It's definitely one of the big issues for the Philippines, because especially when they're trying to contest for those for the mutual objectives like the Lord, they are forced to walk through that slow and take all that poke damage before the fight even begins.
The damage taken though by Del Rosario, 117,000. It's a lot of damage to take, man. He's the official sandbag of the game, but the player spotlight earlier on, and now the match MVP, Brands, 8-0-6. The way he was able to, again, maneuver around, kite back against the Benedetta. It's not a random Benedetta, Arashi. It's the Padup's Benedetta. It's Agent Zero.
He's against the Padup on the Benedetta. He's against Imam on that Farsa, using the feathered airstrike to try and snipe him down. And he's against the literal Filipino sniper in Soriano, trying to actually find ways to